Hi, and welcome to another edition of Seniors Today. I'm your host, Tom Bartee, and our guest today is Laurie Hartmann, with two N's.
With two N's.
Who is the Executive Director of Meals on Wheels. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Well, glad you could be here today, and I'm hoping that we can maybe enlighten our viewers a little bit about the intricacies and complexities of Meals on Wheels.
Sure.
So, what geographical area do you serve with Meals on Wheels?
Meals on Wheels Solano County serves every city in Solano County. So Rio Vista, Sassoon, Vallejo, Benicia, Fairfield, Vacaville, Dixon. I think I got them all. Yeah.
Sassoon, yeah.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah. And so how many meals would you say you distribute?
We distribute about 190,000 meals a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. It's an awful lot.
And is there a central kitchen that you work out of, or are there more than one location?
We have a central kitchen at our home office in Sassoon. So we own the kitchen and we own the equipment, but we contract out the work. So someone who is experienced in cooking and packaging and all that does the food preparation for us. So it's nice to have that taken care of by professionals. We're good at managing nonprofits, not so good at packaging and preparing food.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So who decides what your menu will be on a month-to-month basis?
So this company that we contract with has a registered dietitian because our meals need to meet 1/3 of the daily nutritional requirements for seniors. They're low sodium, low sugar. So there's a registered dietitian who actually prepares 3 months worth of meals in advance. So we know what it's going to look like for the next 3 months. We put out a monthly menu to the seniors so they know what's coming each day for the following month, and they don't get the same thing twice in a month. So it's pretty varied.
Oh, it's making me hungry just thinking about it.
I didn't bring you any, sorry.
Oh, darn. Well, I looked at some of the menu items, and it reminded me of when I was in school. And you have a fruit portion, you have a grain portion, you have a protein portion, and so you get everything covered.
We do.
But it also, some of the items look pretty good.
They are. As part of the requirements, we have to taste the food periodically. So once a month, the kitchen brings us over something that they've prepared, and everyone in the office has a bite, and we have to rate it. And it's, for the most part, it's pretty tasty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So 190,000, so that would be, you provide 5 meals per person a week, or how many?
Yes, our home delivered program, we only deliver 3 days a week right now. We used to deliver 5 days a week, but we had some cuts and had to make some adjustments. So we deliver Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but we're still delivering 5 meals. So they get 2 on Monday, 2 on Wednesday, and then 1 on Friday. And then the congregate sites is the senior centers throughout Solano County. We deliver a hot meal there 5 days a week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so there's a senior center in each of the 7 cities in Solano County?
There is, yes. Yeah.
All right. And who makes the deliveries? Are they paid employees or volunteers, or how does that work?
It's a combination of both. Our home delivered meals are primarily done through volunteers. Our volunteers save us probably close to $100,000 a year.
Wow.
Just in mileage and time. We really couldn't operate if we didn't have the volunteers. We have paid drivers that drive our vans that take the hot food to the congregate sites or the senior centers. And then what they also do is they take the home delivered meals that are already packaged. So for example, our delivery driver in Vallejo, he takes the hot food, brings it here to Florence Douglas, but he also brings the home delivered meals, and then all the volunteers who are going to deliver those, they meet him at Florence Douglas, get the meals for their route, and then go from there.
So he has them in a van or something, and then they distribute them right from the van?
Well, the volunteers take their
their
frozen bags or whatever their ice chest or cooler, they take that in their own car and go deliver it and bring it back to Florence Douglas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So of 190,000 meals a year, how many individuals does that convert to? Should I divide by
It's
250?
it's about 625 individuals total.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's quite a few.
It is. It's quite a few. And we have about 150 seniors on our wait list right now.
So your 600 some is based on your budget.
It is.
And that money is from the federal government?
A good chunk of it is from the federal government. It's through the Older Americans Act, senior nutrition programs. So there's funding for both home delivered and congregate meals, separate pots of money. But we also get support. For example, in Vallejo, we get money from the City of Vallejo's general fund. We get some money through the community development block grant money, which is federal money too, but it's funneled through the city, or CDBG they call it. And then recently, thank you Vallejoans, you all had a participatory budgeting process, and this Vallejo residents voted for Meals on Wheels to get another little chunk of money. I think it's about $35,000. That's going to make a significant impact on our wait list. Vallejo is our largest population for both home delivered and congregate. Therefore, Vallejo is also our largest population of people on the wait list. So we're very excited about that. Yeah.
Well, if you look at the demographics of Solano County, the oldest average age of any city in the county is Rio Vista. And it's something like 60 years and up is the average age of that community.
Yeah.
And part of it is because of the senior housing subdivision there
That
outside
trilogy.
of town.
Yes.
Do you do a lot of deliveries to that senior subdivision, or do you do mostly into single family homes?
We do quite a bit out in Trilogy in the retirement community.
Yeah.
But also the Rio Vista Senior Center, they have a pretty robust participation of people that are more mobile. So for folks that can't drive anymore, they're going to get their food home delivered. But if they're still mobile, and they can go to the senior center, we encourage that. It gets people out of the house. It exposes them to other activities at the senior centers.
Yeah.
So it's just a more engaged life, I guess would be the best way to put it. So the Rio Vista Senior Center gets quite a few participants.
Does your 190,000 meals include the congregate care distribution?
Yes, our congregate sites are about 25,000, and the rest is home delivered. So home delivered is definitely
The biggest
the
portion.
biggest portion, right?
Then how does somebody qualify for that? Not that I'm going to apply, but I'm tempted.
You're tempted?
Yeah, I'm tempted.
Okay. Well, taste the food. Initially, the main criteria is that you have to have reached your 60th birthday, and you can't be driving anymore to get home delivered foods.
Oh, okay.
So some of our seniors, they might still have a car, but they can't drive anymore. It can also be that they can no longer prepare meals for themselves, but at the bare minimum, you have to have hit your 60th birthday, because it's the federal funding kind of dictates that,
Yeah.
and through the Older Americans Act, it's for people 60 and over.
So do people apply online, or how do they figure that out?
Most of the time people just call in. We get referrals, sometimes from social workers, from rehabilitation facilities when someone's had surgery and they're going home, and the social workers there know that they're not going to be able to fix their own meal. We also get a lot of referrals from family members who maybe we always see a little bit of a jump right after holidays, and I think it's because people who come from out of state or from far away realize, hey, my dad really can't do this anymore, or my mom's struggling with this. So family members will call and make the referral, and then of course we have to go out and see the people one-on-one and do an assessment, and they have to want the service.
How do you determine that someone isn't driving anymore?
Well, we kind of have to believe that they're telling us the truth.
Okay.
Sometimes we discover that they're not, and then we tell, if we they have to be home to get their meals. If they weren't home, and we call them and say, you weren't home today, and they say, well, I was down at the grocery store.
Yeah.
then we say that, oh, then you're not going to be able to get the home delivered anymore, but we encourage you to go to the congregate site.
Yeah.
You can still get a meal there. It's still free,
Yeah.
but we encourage you to go engage in activities.
I thought I saw on the website that there's a suggested donation.
Mm-hmm.
How does that work?
Well, because it is a free program. It's not necessarily an entitlement program, but it is a free program. So you don't have to pay. If participants want to make a contribution, it's not a donation because they're getting something in return. So it's a contribution. The suggested contribution is $3 a meal. Mm-hmm. And that almost covers just the food cost. Not anything else, not the drivers, not anything like that, but just the food costs.
Mm-hmm. Do you work at all with the food bank on any of the food you have?
You know, we haven't yet. Partly because we've outsourced. We have a vendor that does the purchasing, the cooking, the packaging, and because they have to plan so far in advance, and the food bank doesn't always know what they're going to get. They really haven't been able to work out something. I know they would like to. We're just not there yet.
It sounds like you have a pretty lean and mean organization.
Right now, we are very lean. We're not mean at all, though.
Oh, okay.
No mean, but
Well,
pretty lean.
Maybe I should say assertive instead of mean.
We're just very, we're a small but mighty crew, very passionate about our seniors. And
Yeah, I see a number of budgets for community-based organizations or nonprofits, and a lot of times the overhead is a significant portion of the budget, and that always concerns me a little bit, but it sounds like you guys use the money very efficiently.
our overhead is less than 18%.
Yeah, that's pretty darn good.
It is, so we pride ourselves on that. We have people that are not there to get rich. We're there to just help other people, you know. A lot of passion.
Yeah, well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think so.
So you said that the funding you have comes from various sources, the City of Vallejo, the participatory budgeting, probably from the county, federal government, and the monies come probably through other entities and then end up going to you. And at one point, the funding was actually going to the Area Agency on Aging for Napa Solano County.
That's correct.
And I know that there were some people in the community that were concerned about some recent developments at the Area Agency on Aging where the board actually decided to shut the doors of the agency.
Yes.
But I thought it was important to just point out that it doesn't mean the money is going away.
That's right.
Is that right?
That's absolutely right. So the money from the federal government funnels down through to the state, to the California Department of Aging. That money funnels down through local Area Agency on Aging organizations. There's 38 of them in the state of California. So our Napa Solano Area Agency on Aging was a nonprofit that held that designation. And what that means is they were basically the local pass-through of all that money. Mm-hmm. So they monitored the contracts for the federal funding. Them closing their doors doesn't mean that the money goes away. It just means that that organization that it passed through is going away, but something else will take its place. Mm-hmm. So in the meantime, since that pass-through is gone, the state of California, the Department of Aging, has initiated contracts with every provider for senior services that has federal funding. They've engaged in contracts with us one-on-one, so we're just bypassing somebody right now for at least 6 months until the new Area Agency on Aging and whatever that might look like, until there's infrastructure in place for that. So the money's there. Mm-hmm. The money is not going away, just the pass-through. And then the local funds that come through the City of Vallejo or CDBG, those did not pass through Area Agency on Aging. Those are direct contracts with Meals on Wheels. Uh-huh. So it really, Area Agency on Aging closing really only affected us in terms of who's paying us? The federal money,
Yeah.
basically. So the money's still there. We're not going anywhere. It just kind of changes who we bill and who gives us a check.
So you're saying that the California Department of Aging that receives the federal money is now working on developing a direct contract with Meals on Wheels
Yes.
for the distribution of the funds.
Yes, we already have our contracts in place to start July 1 because the Area Agency on Aging contracts are still in effect through the 30th of June. Starting July 1, we've already got the signed contracts with the state. So I have to say they've been really wonderful in ensuring a very smooth transition so there's no gaps in services. And probably a smoother process. Just, the more layers you add, the more convoluted things can become. And I understand that there has to be an area agency designation, but coming straight from the state, it might be a little faster too.
Yeah, so the other part of it is people heard that the Area Agency on Aging was having trouble, and then at the same time, the number of deliveries was reduced, even though the number of meals remained the same.
Right.
And so people were kind of getting the wrong idea that maybe there was going to be a problem with the delivery of the meals.
Absolutely,
And
they
of course,
did.
we're here to assure everybody that that's not the case.
No, it's not the case. It was kind of just everything kind of happened at the same time. Some of the federal money shifted from home delivered food to congregate food. So there was a shift. So we had a little less money to spend on our home delivered food. At the same time, the Area Agency on Aging was having challenges in reimbursements. And we just have so many more seniors that need the services than we have funding for anyway. The federal funding is not so much per senior. It's a flat amount. You do what you can with that. So obviously if the need is greater than the funding, you're forced to make some changes. So all of those things combined made us kind of have to take a look at how we do things. So we reduced our delivery days as a cost savings. It saves us on, little labor, gas, that kind of thing. We had to implement our first wait list in over a decade. I can't even find somebody that knows when we had our last wait list. And there's just so many more people that need it than what there is funding for currently. I'm very happy to say, though, that the communities have really stepped up. Vallejo citizens have stepped up. Your service clubs have stepped up, as have others in the county. And we will be able to reduce our wait list significantly over the next couple of months. So I'm very excited about that. The ultimate goal is to get back to 5 days a week delivery and no wait list, because really the food is what takes us to the door, but it's what happens at the door that has the greatest impact on the seniors, especially the ones who are homebound. Sometimes it's their only meal, but it's also the only person they see every day. So we're kind of a safety net for them. Our drivers know, they get to know the people on their routes. They develop relationships. They know when someone should be there and isn't. We're going to call their emergency contact and make sure they're okay. And so we want to get back to that, the ability to see people 5 days a week.
Yeah, I know how, or I can understand how important it is for that personal contact to be made with many of those people.
It is. It really is. We had a senior several months ago that had fallen, and her life alert, the battery was dead. So she had been on the floor since the last time we were there.
Oh no.
She was okay. I mean, she didn't break anything, but she was stuck on the floor for more than 24 hours.
Yeah.
She could not get up and nobody could hear her. And so that's the kind of thing when I say it's more than the meal. It's those kinds of things.
It is really true.
Yeah.
Do your employees have any kind of reporting responsibility, or your volunteers? Do they have an evaluation or a check sheet that they ever use?
All of our volunteers get trained in some of the APS, Adult Protective Services. things that might warrant a referral to Adult Protective Services. I would say our volunteers are so dialed in to their clients or their route, their friends that they make on the routes. If anything seems off, they call the office. If they can hear them in there, but they're not answering the door, they call us. We're on the phone with the emergency contact. Hey, we hear your dad in there, but he's not answering the door.
Yeah.
So the volunteers are very proactive. They'll call for, if they feel like they need to call 911, they'll do that. Any kind of concerns, they bring it back to us in the office. Obviously, if it's an emergency situation, they'll take care of it right then. But if it's just general concerns like, I think her medication might be off or something, she's just acting differently, or he's having some challenges with this, then we're on the phone with the emergency contact letting them know because they may not be aware. And then obviously Adult Protective Services gets called if that's what needs to happen.
You indicated that your waiting list is longer than it's ever been.
Yes.
And you said
It's about 150 right now.
150 people. Is that equally dispersed throughout the county, or is there...
The two biggest communities on the list are Vallejo and Fairfield.
So they have the most people on the list.
They do.
And do you regularly review the 600 and some people that are on the program to make sure everybody still qualifies? Or, obviously somebody's 100 years old, they're not going to be on the program forever. And so
we do. It's part of what we're mandated to do. It's our reporting back to the federal government and to the state. Every other quarter, we have to do a phone check-in and reassess them, make sure everything's okay, kind of go through our checklist again. And then every other quarter, we have to see them in person again. So 4 times a year, they're reassessed by one of our intake coordinators. But if anything comes up in between that we get feedback from the volunteers, then obviously, we step in then.
That's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. And I have to tell you, we just did our annual survey to our seniors. We do one annually, and they indicate the amount of time that they've been on the program. And we have a couple of seniors that have been on the program more than 25 years.
Wow.
And they're heading into their late 90s. One of them's going to be 100.
Wow. Well, some of the counties that I work with have a centenarian event.
We do?
Once a year. And Solano County is one of them.
Yeah.
And boy, what a great thing that is.
It is.
Both for the people that put it on, but also for the seniors. And there's usually between 10 and 20 seniors that show up that are 100 years or older.
We had 2 from our Meals on Wheels clients that were there last year.
Yeah. And in Napa County they do it too, the centenarian event, and they usually the supervisors interface with the seniors in the ceremony, and one of the supervisors asks a question. They all ask the same question: what is your secret to longevity? And the one lady goes, well, she thought about it for a minute. She goes, well, I think my secret is that I just get up every morning. And I just figured, well, okay, yeah, I'm going to start working on that myself, make sure I can extend my longevity to a certain level.
Well, that brings up a prime example of one of the benefits of Meals on Wheels. We've had feedback from seniors who say, I know someone's coming, and that's my reason to get up today.
Oh, yeah.
So there's some truth in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So is there anything new on the horizon of any changes in the program or any different types of outreach for more funding, or?
I'm always looking for more funding, writing grants. We did get a little bit more money from the federal government with these new contracts, so that's helpful. That's part of what's helping us open up our wait list. We have a great fundraiser. It's not till September, but I'll tell you about it now. It's at Mankus Corner. Chef Peter closes down on a Sunday afternoon, and we have a fundraising dinner there. That'll be the end of September. We don't have the date locked in yet.
Oh, okay.
So those kinds of things are always helpful. We started a program just about 5 or 6 months ago. We got a little bit of funding for a pet program. So one of the
What
things,
kind?
pets.
Oh, okay.
It's called PAWS, Pets Assisting the Well-Being of Seniors, because pets are their family. If they become family,
Yeah.
and
Or companions.
companions,
Yeah.
and so we know a lot of our seniors have trouble feeding their pets, or they can't get them veterinary care or grooming that they need, or flea medicine, which is always an issue. And so we got a little bit of funding through Meals on Wheels of America, specifically for
pets.
for a pet program.
Wow.
So we have a volunteer coordinator who runs the program, and we did a survey of our clients, and if you need help, let us know. And so we have, my boardroom has a wall full of donated food and supplies, and so we take them out and help the seniors out with that, it's really wonderful, because that's, if you're a pet lover, you know how much it can enrich the life of someone that lives alone.
And they might have been feeding the pet some of their meals, so
We
that
know
gives
they
them more
were.
food too.
We know they were.
And so you could call that, when they come to feed the pets, the pause that refreshes. Yeah. Bad joke. Well, believe it or not, we've run out of time.
Oh, okay.
It goes pretty fast when you're enjoying yourself,
It does, yeah.
at least for me.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate you being here today.
Thank you for having me and giving me an opportunity to talk about the program. And
Yeah, and thank you for everything you do. This program is a really important program for many, many people. So thank you.
yeah, it's our pleasure. Thank you.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Our show airs Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. on Comcast 27, AT&T UVerse 99, and streaming live video at vcat.tv. Come see us again next time.